Have you ever found yourself weary of the same old narratives repeated over and over, painting a picture of a continent constantly shrouded in the shadows of conflict and poverty? Take a deep breath, because what I'm about to share with you might just fundamentally transform your perception of the world. We're talking about Burkina Faso, a small yet immensely proud nation nestled deep within West Africa. Its very name, Land of the Upright People, isn't merely a title. It's a powerful declaration, a testament to the unyielding spirit of a resilient populace. For decades, Western media has frequently depicted a bleak panorama of Africa, familiar images of overcrowded slums, starving children, or relentless cycles of unending conflict. Yes, that is a part of the story, but it is far from the whole truth. And that leads us to a pivotal question. Could there be something far more profound, something truly magnificent being overlooked? Are you aware that hidden behind the sensational headlines, a powerful new wave is steadily emerging? In Burkina Faso, instead of passively accepting their fate, they are actively rewriting their own story. They are meticulously constructing a blueprint for self-reliance, a model that this entire continent could emulate. I've had the privilege of speaking with the people here, from the bustling vibrancy of Ouagadougou to the peaceful, sun-drenched villages of the Sahel. In their eyes, I see a consistent burning flame, the flame of dignity, the flame of hope. It is a flame that speaks volumes, saying powerfully, "We have endured enough. The time has come to rise up." Imagine this scenario for a moment. You own a beautiful garden overflowing with ripe, sweet fruits. Yet time and again, others arrive to pluck the choicest harvests, leaving you with little more than discarded peels and barren branches. Worse still, they then adamantly insist that you lack the knowledge to tend your own garden, that your very existence depends on their continuous presence. This, regrettably, is precisely what has transpired in Burkina Faso and in countless other corners of this vast continent. But now, they have unequivocally said no. They have resolutely chosen to cultivate their own garden, to harvest their own sweet bounty. The lesson here is strikingly simple, yet profoundly meaningful. Only when you assert mastery over your own destiny can you truly be free. So why does this particular story hold such immense significance for us, thousands of miles away? Because it extends beyond the borders of Burkina Faso. It embodies a universal principle of human dignity and the right to self-determination. And to truly grasp what has propelled this quiet revolution, we must delve into the very heart of the matter. How could a nation so rich in natural resources fall into such extreme poverty? Join me in the next segment as we uncover the gold paradox and shed light on the intricate web of aid traps designed to ensnare developing nations. You definitely won't want to miss this. Have you ever felt as if you're only seeing half the picture, especially when it comes to distant nations, about which we often hear only through the lens of rushed headlines? Today, we're going to turn a new page, an untold story about a country in West Africa. We're turning our attention to Burkina Faso, a name you might not have heard much, but its meaning is truly thought-provoking: Land of the Upright People. Sounds beautiful, doesn't it? Yet for a very long time, the image of Africa in many minds has been a recurring montage of famine, endless conflicts, or urgent pleas for aid. Perhaps you've grown accustomed to these portrayals, but have you ever wondered, is that all there is to Africa? Or could there be something far more significant that we're missing? Can you believe that even now, amidst seemingly insurmountable challenges, a quiet revolution is blossoming? In Burkina Faso, instead of passively accepting their fate, They are seizing the pen to write a new chapter in their own history. This isn't merely a local movement. It's crafting a blueprint for self-reliance, a model whose resonance could spread across the continent, and even globally. I've felt this firsthand when looking into the eyes of the people here, from the bustling energy of the capital, Ouagadougou, to the serene, sun-kissed villages of the Sahel. They don't speak it aloud, but their eyes burn with an intense flame, the flame of dignity, the flame of hope. It's a flame that whispers, "We have endured enough. The time has come to rise up." To help you visualize, imagine you own a flourishing garden with fertile soil and year-round fruits. But strangely uninvited guests keep arriving, picking the choicest fruits, leaving you with only bare branches and the advice that you need them for your garden to survive. And what's more absurd, they then publicly declare that you're incapable of tending your own garden, that you are forever dependent on their kindness. This is precisely the painful reality Burkina Faso has experienced, not just them, but many other African nations. But now they have bravely said no. They have decided to cultivate their own garden with their own hands to harvest their own sweet rewards. The lesson here is simple yet profoundly deep. Only when you truly take ownership of your destiny can you achieve genuine freedom. So why is this inspiring story so significant for us thousands of miles away? Because it transcends Burkina Faso's geographical borders. It touches upon a universal principle of human dignity and the right to self-determination. And to truly understand what ignited this quiet yet powerful revolution, we need to look directly at the root of the problem. How did a nation so rich in resources come to face extreme poverty? I assure you, you'll be surprised as we explore the gold paradox and the lurking aid traps in the next segment. Don't miss a single moment, because you're sure to find something that will make you reflect. Imagine this. You're living on top of a colossal gold mine. Yes, not metaphorically, but literally. The land beneath your feet is brimming with precious treasure enough to change the lives of millions. Sounds like a dream, doesn't it? But for the people of Burkina Faso, this has become a painful paradox. A story where wealth doesn't bring prosperity, but rather plants the seeds of enduring poverty. Burkina Faso is one of Africa's leading gold-producing nations. Think about that. Tons of raw gold extracted every year. So what's the simple question that springs to your mind? Why are its people still so poor? This is the core of the gold paradox. According to Captain Traoré, he asked this very question. If our country is so rich, why are its people so poor? Where does the money go? He bluntly stated, it flows into foreign banks, into the pockets of multinational corporations that have no loyalty to our flag, no love for our people, or our... Does that sound hard to believe? Let me explain how it works. Imagine a mining contract where a foreign company comes and says, "We will invest. We will mine the gold for you." It sounds reasonable on the surface. But what often happens is that contracts are signed with extremely unfavorable terms for the host nation. Captain Traoré specifically mentioned that foreign companies often take up to 90% of the profits, leaving only 10% for Burkina Faso. Think about that 90% of your own resources. This is not a hypothetical situation. This has been the reality. Previous leaders who Traoré stated were more interested in filling their own pockets than in filling the stomachs of their people, signed these agreements. They signed away our birthright for a few pieces of silver. Visualize luxury cars driving on pothole-filled roads, large houses being built while ordinary people lived in mud huts. This is the cancer of corruption tightly interwoven with external forces, forming what Traoré called a dirty partnership. And who pays the ultimate price? It's you, the farmer, the worker, the mother, the ordinary child of Burkina Faso. So what is the profound lesson we can learn from the gold paradox? It is that abundant natural resources do not guarantee prosperity if you lack true sovereignty to control them. This isn't just about gold. It's about self-determination, about a nation's fundamental right to decide its own future. Does this make you reconsider other stories we've been told about aid and help? If so, join me in the next segment where we will uncover the truth behind the aid trap and expose how it truly keeps nations in a vicious cycle of dependency. I guarantee you will have a very different perspective on the concept of benevolence after this. Don't let this crucial understanding slip away. Do you believe in the fairy tale of a benevolent giant coming to help the small and the weak? It sounds beautiful, but in the real world, sometimes help can be a sophisticated trap disguised beneath a veneer of kindness. After exploring the gold paradox, where abundant resources paradoxically led to poverty, we now need to look deeper into another aspect of dependency, what Captain Traoré and many African leaders call the aid trap. So, how does this aid trap actually work? Imagine a struggling nation in need of funds to build schools, hospitals, or develop agriculture. Large financial institutions like the International Monetary Fund, IMF, or the World Bank will appear offering substantial loans. Sounds like a wonderful solution, doesn't it? But as Traoré put it, these are not gifts, my people. They are traps. They are new chains heavier than the old ones. These loans often come with stringent conditions. For example, they might demand that the nation cut public spending on agriculture, a move that would directly undermine a country's food self-sufficiency. Or they might require you to sell crucial state-owned companies like your water or electricity utility to private foreign businesses. Do you see the absurdity here? They tell you how to run your country. Is that independence? Is that freedom? No, it is slavery with a smiling face, Traoré emphasized. These aren't just mere accusations. The structural adjustment policies of the IMF and World Bank in the past have been widely criticized for their negative impacts on public services and social welfare in developing countries. Numerous independent studies have indicated that forced privatization and cuts in public spending often lead to citizens paying higher prices for essential services, while foreign companies reap significant profits. Think about water prices skyrocketing or public health quality deteriorating due to lack of funding. This keeps nations increasingly dependent as they are stripped of their ability to produce, build, and become self-sufficient. They want us to be a nation of consumers, not producers, Traoré said. They do not want us to grow our own food. They do not want us to build our own machines. They do not want us to be self-reliant, because a self-reliant nation cannot be controlled. The crucial lesson here is aid, if not accompanied by respect for sovereignty and the promotion of internal capacity, can become more of a tool for control than a true lever for development. It can transform a nation into a passive consumer market rather than an active, productive power. So how does one break free from this vicious cycle of dependency? What happens when a nation decides to shatter those invisible chains? This is precisely when we step into the solution. A revolution of self-reliance. Continue watching to discover how Burkina Faso is planning to reclaim its economic sovereignty and build a new foundation for its future. The next segment will offer you a completely different perspective. Have you ever wondered why certain regions of the world seem perpetually caught in a spiral of conflict? Is it solely internal issues, or are there unseen hands stirring things up from behind the scenes? After exploring the gold paradox and the aid trap, we need to squarely face another painful aspect of dependency: how external forces can sow the seeds of division, even nurturing conflict to maintain their influence. When Captain Traoré spoke, he didn't hesitate to point this out. He said, "They try to sow division among us. They arm real terrorists who come and burn our villages and kill our people, creating chaos and instability." Sounds like a conspiracy theory, doesn't it? But consider this for a moment. When a nation is divided, when its people are too busy fighting each other, they won't have time to see who the real enemy is. Those external forces manipulating and profiting from their weakness and instability. This instability creates a favorable environment for easier resource exploitation and ensures that the nation remains dependent on help from the outside, including military aid. Take the example of the impact of terrorism in Burkina Faso. Thousands, even millions of people have been forced to abandon their homes, losing everything due to brutal attacks. Villages are burned. Lives are turned upside down. Traoré emphasized that the goal of those who create chaos is to keep the people so busy fighting each other that they do not have time to see who the real enemy is. This is indeed an ancient tactic: divide and conquer. It not only causes suffering, but also paralyzes a nation's ability to develop self-sufficiently. So what's the small lesson we can draw from this? It's that internal unity is the strongest shield against any external manipulation. A united people understanding their true adversaries will not be easily divided or exploited. This story highlights the importance of identifying and combating not only visible enemies, but also the unseen hands manipulating from the shadows. Does this make you wonder then how Burkina Faso can counter these divisive schemes and begin rebuilding from within? Can they find a path to a true self-reliant revolution? Stay with us to discover their bold steps in the next segment on The Solution: A Revolution of Self-Reliance, a part that will show you the power of human will. Don't take your eyes off the screen, because what's coming next is even more intriguing. Here's the English voiceover. Voiceover 5. Reclaiming Sovereignty. The New Economic Blueprint. Have you ever heard the saying, "You get what you pay for"? Well, sometimes the riches lie right beneath your feet, yet the power to decide belongs to someone else. After understanding the gold paradox and the aid traps that held Burkina Faso back, now is the time for us to witness a spectacular transformation. A true revolution is underway, focused on regaining economic control. This is the solution part, where they begin to build a solid foundation for the future. How does a nation reclaim its autonomy when it has been stripped away for so long? Burkina Faso started with the boldest move, declaring sovereignty over its own resources. Captain Traoré clearly affirmed, "The wealth of Burkina Faso belongs to the people of Burkina Faso." It sounds simple, but this is a revolutionary statement. Their first step was to review all mining contracts signed with foreign companies. Instead of accepting unfair terms like 90% of profits going to external parties, they invited the companies to the negotiating table and said, "The old days are over. This is our gold. This is our land. You will now have a fair partnership, not an exploitative one." Do you think the companies would easily accept that? Certainly not. Some threatened to leave. And what was Burkina Faso's response? They said goodbye. They were not afraid. They believed in their own capabilities. We have Burkinabe engineers, Burkinabe geologists, Burkinabe workers. We will learn and we will do it ourselves. This is a valuable lesson. It is better to have a smaller profit that is 100% ours than to have a large profit where 90% belongs to someone else. That is the spirit of resource nationalism, not hating foreigners but loving and prioritizing one's own country. Hand in hand with reclaiming resources, the fight against corruption is uncompromising. Traoré clearly stated, "The time of impunity is over. The state's money is sacred. It is the people's money." They have cut wasteful spending, no more fleets of luxury cars for government ministers. Instead, they will drive simple cars like the people. No more unnecessary foreign trips. All that money once stolen or squandered is now being directly channeled into the National Building Fund. Imagine the difference. From funds that disappeared into private pockets, they now become bricks, cement, schools, and hospitals. This is the backbone of their new economy. So what is the overarching lesson from this reclamation of economic sovereignty? It is that the courage to say no to exploitation and yes to one's own capabilities is the first and most crucial step to building a prosperous and sustainable future. It shows that when you control your resources and eliminate corruption, you will have the capacity to develop on your own. Does this make you curious about how the people of Burkina Faso have truly mobilized their collective strength to turn these visions into reality? Join me as we delve into the next segment, where we will explore the power of the people, mobilizing a nation for change, an inspiring story of unity and action. Don't miss it, because that's where this story truly comes alive. Have you ever heard the saying, unity is strength? It's easy to say, but turning it into a reality, especially in a nation facing countless challenges, is an entirely different story. After seeing how Burkina Faso is reclaiming its economic sovereignty, now is the time for us to witness the most crucial element of this revolution, how they have awakened and mobilized the extraordinary power of their own people. A nation that cannot feed itself cannot be free. A nation that cannot defend itself cannot be sovereign. A nation that cannot house its people cannot have dignity. These are simple yet powerful truths upon which Burkina Faso's revolution is built. Captain Traoré clearly stated, "A revolution is not carried by one man. It is carried by 22 million people." So how have they done it? Do you know that to ensure no one is left behind, they have launched a national effort to boost agricultural production? The goal is crystal clear. We must grow what we eat and eat what we grow. This sounds basic, but it ends the shame of importing rice and corn when their land is fertile. I've seen farmers working with a new energy because they know the nation is behind them. This isn't just about farming. It's about reclaiming food self-sufficiency, a fundamental cornerstone of independence. Next, they mobilized their youth, Burkina Faso's greatest resource. Traoré views them not as a problem to be solved, but as the solution to all their problems. They are creating programs that are not just empty talk, but practical action, training youth in construction, in modern agriculture, in technology. Imagine young people full of energy, equipped with knowledge and skills to build their own future and the future of their country. And then, one of the most powerful symbols of this new spirit is the emergence of the Volunteers for the Defense of the Fatherland (VDP). These are not professional soldiers. These are ordinary citizens, farmers, teachers who have taken up arms alongside their army to protect their communities from terrorists. They are fighting for their own land, for their own families. This is the definition of patriotism, Traoré said a patriot is one who builds and defends. So what is the core lesson from mobilizing the power of the people? It is that the participation of all segments of society in building and defending the nation is the most powerful, unparalleled driving force for achieving true self-reliance. It is when every individual feels they are a part of the solution rather than a victim of the problem. Does this make you wonder, with a strong foundation from controlling resources, fighting corruption, and mobilizing the people, if Burkina Faso can undertake any grand projects? Absolutely. Join me in the next segment where we will explore the great national project, the City of Dignity, an ambitious vision that will astound you. Don't take your eyes off the screen, because you're about to witness something extraordinary. Do you believe that a grand, seemingly impossible dream can become a reality purely through the will and unity of a nation? Having witnessed Burkina Faso reclaim its resource sovereignty and mobilize the strength of its people, now is the time we turn to the pinnacle of that vision, a great national project, a living symbol of their new era. Captain Traoré announced a bold and ambitious vision to build an entirely new city from the ground up. Not just a few houses, but 50,000 brand new homes. And what's special about them? These homes will be given to the people, not sold, not rented. Sounds incredible in a world where housing prices are constantly soaring, doesn't it? But this is the boldest act of social justice in their country's history. Imagine a city designed not to serve profit, but to serve people. Who will live in this city of dignity, or la Cité de la Day, as they call it? It will be for the thousands who have lost everything due to terrorism, for poor families currently crammed into existing slums, for young families with no hope of home ownership. It will also be for brave soldiers and their families, a thank you from a grateful nation. And for teachers, nurses, farmers, the backbone of Burkina Faso. But a city isn't just rows of concrete boxes. A city is a community, a place to live, to work, to learn, and to dream. Let's look at the details of this vision. The homes will be built primarily using local materials like the distinctive red laterite brick of their land, designed to be cool in their hot climate and sustainable. Each neighborhood will have its own source of clean water. No more walking for miles to fetch water. The city will be powered by the sun with large solar power grids providing clean and reliable electricity to every single home. This is a wonderful example of using their abundant natural resources intelligently and sustainably. And the heart of this city will not be a giant presidential palace. Instead, they will build a large public library and a vocational training center. There will be many schools where every child has a place to learn and will be taught their true African history, a history of resistance and glory. Clinics and a central hospital will have a special focus on maternal and child care with a promise that no woman should die giving life, no child should die from a preventable disease. There will be large zones for community farming right inside the city, giving every family the opportunity to grow their own vegetables, to combat hunger, and create a green, beautiful city. And for their youth, there will be tech hubs and workshops, places where they can learn coding computer skills, how to repair solar panels, how to build machines, to unleash the genius of their young people and create jobs. So what's the big lesson from this project? It's that the grandest vision isn't something distant, but something built with your own hands for your own people based on what you already possess. It demonstrates that self-reliance isn't just about reclaiming what was lost, but about forging a future better than ever before. You must be wondering, How can a nation like Burkina Faso fund such a colossal project, especially when Western experts would surely say it's impossible? But they were wrong. Join me in the next segment, where we will explore in detail how they are turning the impossible into possible through a surprising financial plan. You'll want to see this. Have you ever wondered if a small spark can ignite a massive fire? Burkina Faso's story, with its efforts towards self-reliance and the City of Dignity project, isn't just an internal affair. It's becoming a beacon, an inspiring blueprint for the entire African continent. A call for a pan-African awakening. When Captain Traoré spoke about the City of Dignity project, he emphasized that it is bigger than Burkina Faso. It is a symbol for all of Africa. This is a message of hope, especially to the young brothers and sisters in Mali, Niger, Guinea, and across Africa. I want you to watch us. I want you to see what is happening here. Do not listen to the voices that tell you it is impossible. Do not accept the future that others have planned for you. Do you ever feel tired of seeing Africa defined by others? Traoré encourages the youth. You are the sons and daughters of kings and queens of great empires, of brilliant civilizations. The spirit of your ancestors lives in you. Rise up and take control of your destiny. This isn't just a speech. It's a profound call to action, reminding them of their great heritage and limitless potential. One concrete example of the unity Traoré mentions is the alliance of Sahel states AES between Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. This is just the beginning, but it represents a new model of cooperation. Instead of each country confronting challenges alone, they are learning to cooperate. Our strength is in our unity, Traoré said. If we trade with each other, if we build infrastructure together, if we defend each other, we will be invincible. This is a vision that goes beyond merely confronting terrorism. It's about building a self-reliant economic and political bloc. The true strength of Africa lies in internal unity and the ability to self-determine, not in dependence on external powers. Refusing to go begging in Paris and Washington, and instead coming to Bamako, Niamey to plan together. That is the essence of an Africa for Africans. Does this story of the Pan-African awakening make you wonder about the role of Western powers in this new landscape? How will they react when Africa stands up and demands equality? Join me in the next segment, where we will hear Traoré's message to the West, a frank and challenging declaration. You definitely won't want to miss what he has to say about democracy. Have you ever felt a contradiction between what we're told about democracy and the reality of life for many people around the world? After witnessing Burkina Faso's powerful rise and its call for a united Africa, now is the time for us to listen to a direct, uncompromising message from Captain Traoré to Western powers. A message that challenges familiar notions of politics and development. Traoré clearly stated, "We do not seek to be your enemy. We seek to be your equal." He demands respect. For decades, Western nations have spoken of democracy, but Traoré poses a direct question. What is this democracy where the people vote every 5 years, but they remain poor every single day? What is this democracy where foreign corporations have more power than the elected government? This forces us to rethink the true nature of democracy and whether it is truly serving the purpose of the people. Burkina Faso is building a new kind of democracy, one fundamentally different from what we typically envision. For them, democracy isn't merely about periodic elections. Democracy is a roof over every head. Democracy is clean water for every child. Democracy is a school for every village. Democracy is food on every table. This is the democracy of life, the democracy of dignity. They are not interested in receiving lecturers or soldiers. Do not send us your lecturers, Traoré said. Send us nerves who want a fair deal. He also added, do not send us your soldiers to fight terror when that terror often grows from the poverty your system creates. They want help to build their own strength to defend themselves. When criticized for reclaiming resources, Traoré posed a counter-question. Ask yourselves why you felt you had the right to them in the first place. This is a powerful reminder of the history of exploitation and the necessity of a fairer relationship. Burkina Faso is a sovereign nation. They will work with anyone who respects them, but they will never again be anyone's servant. The time for that is gone forever. The story of how Burkina Faso is redefining democracy based on basic human needs and dignity offers a profound lesson. True democracy must be about serving and empowering its people to have a better life, not just a political form. Does this make you wonder how this revolution will end? Can this grand vision become a sustainable reality? Join me for the final part of this story where we will explore Conclusion, the work begins, and look toward the future of a new Burkina Faso. Don't miss these powerful closing words, for they will be the flame that ignites belief. We have embarked on an incredible journey together from the profound paradoxes of wealth and poverty to bold visions of a self-reliant nation. Now we arrive at the conclusion, a call to action, not just for the people of Burkina Faso, but for all who believe in the power of dignity and self-determination. Captain Traoré has laid out a vision that is ambitious, that is bold. Many will say it is impossible, but he affirms, nothing is impossible for a people who are united and determined. The road ahead will certainly not be easy. Building a city is hard work, and rebuilding a nation from its very foundations is infinitely harder. They will face countless obstacles. Their enemies will try to stop them, try to discourage them, try to divide them. But the core message is steadfastness. They must remain united as one people with one single goal. From this day forward, every Burkinabe will be a builder. The farmer who grows the food for the workers building is a builder. The woman who carries the water is a builder. The teacher who educates the children of the builders is also a builder. The soldier who protects the construction site is a builder. This is a national mission for every single one of them, with no one left behind. This city of dignity will be a living monument to their struggle and their victory. When their children and grandchildren walk its streets, they will not see the charity of a foreign NGO. They will see the work of their parents' and grandparents' hands. They will touch the walls and feel the strength of their own people. They will know with certainty that they come from a nation of proud, capable, and free people. So what is the ultimate message of this story? It is that the power for true change always lies in the collective will of a resilient people daring to dream and daring to act. Dawn is breaking over Burkina Faso. A new day has come. Let this story inspire you to view the world through a different lens, a lens of hope, of self-reliance, and of human dignity. Homeland or death we shall overcome.